Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. Rise Up in Real Estate. We're here for another episode of Rise Up in Real Estate, Rise Up Nation. We're glad you're here. I'm just getting used to, there we go. I'm getting used
at 10 a.m.
How did that happen so fast? Did you do that, Lawton?
I put it up there, yeah, but he's here right when we started. This is great.
Man, I was like, holy cow, how did that happen so fast? So I'm just here looking at my co-hosts through the floater I have in my left eye after my eye episode this week, thinking how great y'all look. I was just telling Lawton, he looks fit. He said, I got a haircut, you got new lights. I mean, you're making this a priority, this whole thing.
Thanks. Yeah, it wasn't just for this, but I'm glad it helps.
Oh yeah. Don't tell me that. You got to tell me, look, there's Sue O'Shea. Hey Sue, nice to see you. So that reminds me, Sue and Lawton aren't they your guests today, Ashley, in class at Carolina Forest and virtual? Tell me about it.
They absolutely are. So Sue actually shared her message at R4, right? So at the big convention, she was one of the sessions there that agents could attend. And it's about showing up for your business in a way that starts with taking care of yourself and what choices you can make so that you can show up for your family and your business in the best way possible. And then leading off of that, Lawton is also going to share his incredible success story of 0 to 100% club in his first year in business. So we're having both of them talk, and it's kind of like from energy to excellence going all the way through. So we're very excited to have Lawton and Sue share with the agents today.
That'll be really cool. Lawton, did you know you're doing this later today?
Forgot it was today, but I'll be there. No, I'm ready.
That's how it goes. I mean, that's interesting. So you've got two great ones. That's great. So what time is it? 12:30 in Carolina Forest. Is that right?
Yes, sir. And Sue, I'm not in charge of bringing lunch. I just want to put that out there right now. So I don't know, because Sue's going to share some nutrition tips for us as part of her conversation, but if they show up with pizza, I didn't do it, Sue. Okay.
Is there lunch after or before? Is that what you're saying?
Before. Yep. Lunch at noon. And then we start right in.
Well, great. So as soon as this is over, you have New Agent Network, and then you have that. And then you'll check your email.
That's what happens on Wednesdays. If you have emailed me, I may not see it until about 3 p.m.
I just did a video. I heard something about email that I thought was pretty curious. So I just did a video on that a few minutes ago about how to get your email more under control, because I'm a bad emailer, but we won't go into that today because that's a topic for another day. Anything new going on with either of you guys? Got exciting plans this week, or anything new in your diet that Sue has encouraged?
I need to take some lessons from Sue. I just earlier wanted to point out that I love that Tad started today with giving compliments on how everybody looks, and then tells a story about his vision being impaired. So I found that.
Well, no, you look great. You look great out of my good eye also.
All right.
Matter of fact, you look better. I should have done it that way to begin with. I don't know if any of you have been to the eye doctor lately, but holy mackerel, since our last show. I told these guys a minute ago, I feel like, when you turn 50 something, my mind feels like it's in great shape. My body, on the other hand, is deciding that it might be time to throw in the towel. I don't know what's happening. I went to the dermatologist, which is, man, if I didn't have a mixed group of people here that I don't know, I would share that story, because I decided to go have my skin looked at, and that's just so embarrassing when you're somebody that's kind of modest like me. Good morning, Tracy. Nice REMAX classes in your picture there on Facebook. I love it. How are you? Glad to see you. So I did the dermatologist, then I went to the eye doctor, because I don't know if you've ever had this happen before, but I had some flashing lights. Like there was a concert going on in the periphery of my left eye, and I thought, I kept trying to look at the whole concert, but when I looked over there, it would go away. And now I go that way, and I turn my head, and there was the concert again. So I went to the eye doctor, and I thought Google told me I had a brain tumor, so I had to go to the eye doctor to get that confirmed that I do not. But man, if I could spend a week without going to the doctor, it would be fantastic. But y'all do look great. You look like you're ready to roll. I've got Hello, look at Tara. Tara's here. Glad to see you this morning. But today we're gonna go off script just a little bit. I actually need to check one thing because if Lawton, I want to tell you, if any special guests show up in the waiting room, we'll probably want to admit them. I don't know that this is going to happen, but I did do an invite to a few people to come in and listen and talk about this topic with us. So I don't know if anybody will show up or not. But today we're going to talk about something. We're going to go off script. We've had a great couple of weeks with CMN champion. And then last week, Ashley, you feeling better, by the way? No cough?
Yeah, well, I still have cough drops next to me for in case, but knock on wood, I think I can get through an hour without coughing.
Okay, we shouldn't have brought that up because now the
Well,
tick.
here's the terrible part, though, is that I gave my mom my same cold, and hers has been getting worse every day, and finally got her to go to the doctor yesterday, and she has pneumonia.
Oh.
Yeah, it's bad.
I'm sorry. That's terrible. This is why we don't do the show in person, Lawton.
There you go.
That's why we do it via Zoom. I'm sorry to hear that. That's terrible. But we had last week had a great discussion with Consider Jennifer about, wasn't that last week? That was last week, right? When we had TJ come on.
So good.
Really, what did you gain from that, Ashley? Do you remember, like, what was the thing that stood out the most to you from talking to her?
It's something that I've heard before, but for some reason, when she shared it, it's been able to stay at the forefront of my mind. Do you guys ever listen to people and you think to yourself, that's so smart, I'm going to remember that every time I'm in that situation, and then you can never recall it? Maybe that's just me, but she said when things happen, she always tells her children or anybody that she's speaking with, you have two choices. You can make it better or you can make it worse. And I think that that's even relevant to what we're going to talk about today, right? Here's a change. We can't make that change different than what it is. Are you going to be part of the audience that makes it better, or are you going to make it worse? I loved that message. I mean, I loved everything she shared, but I'm actually able to keep that at the forefront of my brain lately.
I actually had a chance to use that on Friday night. My son's flag football team, not Lawton's, but Archer's flag football team is terrible because none of them have played before. They're just learning, and they're playing against teams that have been together for 3 or 4 years. Even at 7 years old, there's a marked difference, and they're just getting beat every week. And last week, when I heard Jennifer say that, what you just described, the way that I heard her say it was, what are you going to do about it? Like, what are you going to do about it? So my son came off the field griping about, he's 7 years old, griping about the referees. They cheated. It's so nonsensical, but I didn't know what to say until this week. I looked right at him and I said, well, so what are you going to do about it? Well, what can you do about it? And he looked at me like he really didn't want me to ask him that question. But the truth is there's nothing he can do about it. And he knew it at that moment. Like, he can get over it, or he can dwell in it. And so that was pretty interesting. I loved having her on. If you guys weren't here, you should consider Jennifer.com and look her up. I think we should have her as a speaker at Recharge in the future. I think that'd be really cool. She was fun. Hello, Carrie.
Yeah. I liked Carrie's comment that came up. Yep.
Oh yeah, that's right. This is our resident basketball referee, Carrie Collins, down in Somerville. And yeah, right. The refs never right. Actually, we could do a whole podcast on that because Lawton's got some experience with that, but we won't. So today we're going to take like we do with current events, we're going to take a little bit of a step off the beaten path and talk a little bit about some current events, things in our industry. And I think this is true. I have to say that. Can you change it? That's so funny. Well, good thing he has you, Tracy. Just a good thing he has you. That's what I think. So this week, our industry's been moving a lot. Like, I think even before this week's news, Ashley and Lawton, you tell me if I'm wrong. I believe more than any time in my career, Lawton's career is kind of short so far, but in my career, which started in 2001, the last 3 or 4 years, there's just been a lot of changes, right? So we have contract changes, law changes, lawsuits, just thing after thing after thing. And then now we've seen some consolidation happening in our industry. the big talk was Compass acquiring Anywhere. And then, and by the way, we're in real estate in coastal South Carolina. If you're on here and you had no idea about that, just to let you know, hey, Graham, nice to see you. Glad you're here. There's been consolidation, even some mortgage companies with some apparent real estate companies with some portals, just a lot of movement, a lot of consolidation. And there's been just a lot of theories, people talking about it, like what in the world? And it's been very easy to talk about because it hasn't been us, in my opinion. It's been very easy to project what's going to happen to Compass when they talk about exclusive privates, and then all of a sudden they're with Coldwell Banker, who might not agree. Like, how are they going to put this whole thing together? And even using it as not as a tool, but a talking point. Well, Monday morning at 7:00, for those of you that don't know, Andy and I received an email, and Rennie, as broker owners of REMAX, Southern Shores, etc., that a little known tech real estate company, I guess is a way to put it, called Real, bought REMAX. And when I saw this, or is buying REMAX, when I saw this, I looked to the date on the email to make sure it wasn't April Fool's Day. And when I realized that this might be real, no pun intended, I started thinking to myself, okay, what in the world is happening? What's going on? And I wanted to talk about that today. Some people are not talking about it. Some people are talking about it too much. But I felt responsible that we should, with the platform that we have, we should discuss it today and get people's feelings, talk it out, and see where everybody is. Because 3 minutes later, all of our agents got the same email. We got 3 minutes of notice as broker owners. We were put on alert for 3 minutes that our agents were getting ready to hear this news. And then now all the agents have it. So I wanted to start by today just getting Ashley and Lawton's take. And by the way, I should start by saying, these are our thoughts and our opinions. We don't know what tomorrow holds, just like we didn't on Sunday, right? You never know what tomorrow holds. These are going to be our thoughts and opinions in the next several minutes. I want to get your thoughts and opinions, those of you that are listening, taking the time to be on here today, and let's just talk it out. Like, we don't know what is ultimately going to happen, but your feelings are important to me, and I want to hear. So let's start with Lawton first. Did you know about this at all before I text you Monday morning?
Yeah, I saw it on social media pop up. So I didn't know about it. I didn't really research it. I was at an open house, so I didn't take the time to research it, but I did know about it before you texted. Yeah.
Okay. And were you at an open house Monday morning when I texted you, or you saw it on Sunday?
No, I was at an open house Monday.
Okay. I was going to say, how'd you get, you should have bought some stock probably if you didn't know it on Sunday. So of course you were at an open house, Ashley. Of course he was, right?
Yeah.
Of course, right? Which is going to be part of what he talks about today at 12:30 probably. What was your initial feeling or thought, Lawton? And there's no right or wrong answers to any of this. Just want to see where you're at.
I mean, the first thought was it was surprising to me because I've never heard of Real, to be honest. And so I had to research that a little bit. I never heard of that. So it was interesting to me. And at first I just kind of read right through it. I was like, oh, we REMAX acquired Real or came together and joined. And then I read the word and I was like, wait a second, that's backwards from what I thought it would have been. But then honestly, usually my initial response to those things is it's probably not going to change a ton. I mean, since I've started real estate, there's been a couple big things that have happened, and I've seen they don't actually change as much as people think they're going to. So it's definitely it's something that I want to have knowledge on. So there are going to be a few random clients that'll probably know about it. They keep up with the news. I think for the most part they won't, but if they do, I want to be able to give a good answer. So it's something I'm curious about. I think it's going to be beneficial. I think Real is going to benefit a lot. I think REMAX is going to benefit a lot. I think each of them do specialize in different things that maybe the other doesn't. I think it's cool that REMAX is putting foots forward for AI and for tech, and I think this is kind of a big showing of that, about as big as you can get. But I don't know a ton of details about most of it, so I'm excited to learn more about it too.
Awesome. Ashley, what about you? When did you find out, how, and what in the world do you think?
Yeah, so I was actually driving to our Florence location and I got a text that just said, well, dang. And I thought, what is this in reference to? Like, I had no idea. So finally, I was like, I'm driving a car. What did I miss? Because then I had 2 or 3 of those messages, right? But nobody was talking about what the reference was. So finally, when I got out of the car, I could actually open up email and see the message that everybody else was getting. And it took me a little while to try to wrap my brain around it. And then I was really thankful that you guys did a video and that I started reading information about the email that REMAX put out and explained that REMAX Holdings is publicly traded and that Real Brokerage is publicly traded. And now they will combine that name into Real REMAX Group as the publicly traded name on the NASDAQ. But that our brands will probably continue operating at least in the immediate future. Like you said, Tad, we don't know what will happen 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, but kind of business as usual. And that we are very in tune to the news hitting, but I don't know, general members of the public are probably like, I don't really know what you're talking about. It's just all the buzz around us right now, but I don't know that everybody else is getting that. So I had like that shock factor as well. And then I started to understand, there's a publicly traded name change here, but REMAX brand is staying intact. Real Brokerage brand is staying intact. And then I was open to hearing what was next.
Good. So I wanted to ask, my friend Graham is on, or he was a minute ago, or any of you that on here that are not in the REMAX or the Real family. Have you heard about this? My inclination is that the public usually doesn't even hear about the things we want them to hear about in real estate. For example, the law changes or the lawsuit, even people that you would think would know. So I doubt the public is worried about it. The impact was what, just the shock and awe factor if you're a REMAX agent or a Real agent, that this transaction happened. Ironically, there's been a person on Instagram, on social media, that's been saying this was going to happen. He was the prophet there's several prophets out there now. Everybody's saying, I knew it was going to happen. But you can't be a prophet after the fact and say, hey, I just knew it. That's not a prophet. Prophet is when you've said it. And this guy was saying that Keller Williams or Zillow was going to buy REMAX. That REMAX was in a position to be purchased. And we'll talk about that. And then his company actually bought it. Like this guy actually works at Real that's been putting all this stuff out. And he was shocked. He didn't know. So there's a lot of layers of this that we want to talk about. And I appreciate you guys sharing how you felt. That's how I felt. I thought, I really, like last week, I wouldn't have thought REMAX would have bought anything. REMAX as a brand, as a company, because of the size of the company, just the things that REMAX has been through. The founder, the main person on the board, is 80 years old. I would have thought we wouldn't be buying anything. I thought we were doing a very good job of shoring up the ship, SHIP, like boat, shoring it up. And we were building some tech things that I was very excited about. I'm really on board with the leadership from Eric all the way down to the people that are on the ground with us out here in the field. I thought they'd done a great job under Eric's leadership to kind of turn this. I mean, the way I look at it is you've got this giant cruise ship called REMAX going in a direction to a port of destiny. And 2 years ago, they said, we're going to turn this thing a little bit. And you can't turn a cruise ship like you can turn a car. It takes time. You got to do it. I mean, it takes, if somebody goes overboard, you might not know this. I know this because I'm taking my kids on a cruise. It takes 1 mile to turn a cruise ship around. It's not like, so if my 4-year-old goes off the back of the boat, I don't even have a 4-year-old. My 3-year-old goes off the back of the boat, it takes a mile for that boat to be able to turn that whole thing around. So I felt like REMAX was doing a phenomenal job of getting us more focused on this elephant in the room in technology with AI, with streamlining processes, with the CRM, with the back office, all of that stuff that Tracy was so heavily involved in. I thought they were doing a good job. So I wouldn't have thought this was going to happen in this way. I wouldn't have been surprised to see Zillow buy REMAX. I wouldn't have been surprised to see Keller Williams and REMAX join forces. I wouldn't have been surprised. But there's not a single person except for the CEO of Real that thought this might happen. That Real would be the one. Let's see. We heard, and it feels like a big deal. Of course, we wonder what it all means to independent brokerages. Yeah. So Graham, my buddies Graham and Matt are running a great brokerage at Living South. I don't know if this is Keith commenting or if it's one of the other guys because the logo changed, but that's a good question. What does it mean? So is it a big deal? Yeah, it's a big deal. I want to start, even though we're halfway through the show, we should say first that it's not done. Okay. So those of you that are listening on the show today and going to listen to this as a podcast, it's not closed. The shocker was real. That's shocker. You spelled shocker wrong, but other than that, that's pretty funny. I like that. Thank you for telling me this, Graham, since you spelled shocker wrong. I love you, man. It's not closed. It's going to close. I think it's going to close pretty quickly because the financing looks like to be, and by the way, it was an $880 million deal, $550 million of purchase, and then taking on about $300 million in debt, taking that over. And I think it's going to close relatively quickly. They say second half of 2026. So that's quick for something like this. Because if you remember when Compass bought Anywhere, it took a little bit, and then it happened like all of a sudden. So I think it's not closed. So there is possibility that, I don't know, somebody could say, this ain't happening. Maybe a lender says, I'm not giving you that money, or maybe somebody in like looking at businesses combining. What's that group called, Ashley, that might say no? Who is it that overlooks business? I can't think of the name of it now. There's a federal organization that watches this stuff, so we don't end up with a monopoly.
Yeah.
Only one real estate choice out there for the public. I mean, it's possible that will happen. It could happen. So there's things that could happen for it not to come together. But let's assume for today's show that it is going to, and that this is a real thing. No pun intended. I can't help myself. I just keep saying it. What does it mean? What does it mean going forward? What does it mean that a tech startup that's about, I think from what I've read, it's about 8 years old, maybe 12 years old, something like that. 33,000 agents in 2 countries would purchase. Let's speculate for a minute. Why would that buyer think this is a good opportunity? Let's be subjective, not REMAX people. What do you guys think, the two of you that are on the show, or anybody that wants to comment? Why would that happen?
I guess it's an opportunity for their tech platform that they initially built on to now be much more widespread, to get a bigger footprint for our technology products do work, because now there'll be an opportunity for the agents that are already with REMAX in over 120 countries to be utilizing the tech. So maybe I'm totally off base on that, but they started as a tech company and now they are a real estate company, correct?
Yeah.
So this can also promote what they're capable of with producing tech that works.
Yes, that's an interesting thought. They were always, like, even the founder, Tamir, I can't pronounce his last name, but I haven't met him yet, so I don't know how to say his last name properly. But he's always been in the real estate space, from what I can tell. Maybe not years ago, but he's a pretty young guy. He was a real estate investor, built some tech with real estate investment, and then the way I understand, he's building real estate. The tech was always real estate focused, so it wasn't general tech that they made real estate. It was built with real estate in mind, the way that I understand it. So they have this, apparently, what I've heard called best of class tech package. I think everybody says their tech is best of class. There's a local independent here that says theirs is best of class. I think there can only be one. So I don't know. Everybody says theirs is. It's like a lot of things. But I think that is a piece of it. So you have a group that's 33,000 agents. in 2 countries with a really strong, exciting future ahead of them because they've grown pretty quickly. But they looked at an opportunity. How long is it going to take us to get 180,000 agents? Tamir said it'd take 3 decades for us to get there, and we did it overnight. Now, REMAX doesn't become real. You see what the group is called. You don't decide to call it that on the ticker if REMAX is going away or Real is going away. They're going to exist together. But Lawton, what do you think? Look at it from a young upstart in your business. Joey says it was for the name. I think that's a big part of it too. I mean, they could have bought a lot of things, but buying the most productive, largest independent real estate broker, name out there. What do you think, Lawton? Look at it from their perspective. You have anything to add, or you kind of agree?
No, I mean, I agree with Ashley and Joey. If I'm a young guy and I've created what I believe to be, and I think through how they've done things and having the ability to purchase something like REMAX, I think they're pretty darn close, if not already best of class. Like, I think that's a good example of maybe that is true for them. If you think you have that, why would you then not want to put it with the best you could, or maybe the biggest you could? Or, I mean, from a financial and business decision, it seems like a really smart decision. I think I've already seen agents on social media and things like that are real agents putting themselves and putting in their posts, putting the word REMAX and using some of that stuff like in their posts. And to me, that's like, I mean, I don't know that I would do it, but it's putting maybe a name that maybe you haven't heard before, maybe you have, with a name that almost positively you've heard. So I think name, I mean, to me, that's one of the biggest things. But financially and business wise, I think it's obvious that it would be a smart decision if I was in that position. Yeah,
the play is for just immediate not reputation, but respect, and now with the client, they've got some what's the word? Collateral, not collateral. I'm not having a good time with words. I'm glad Graham told me about the FTC, but it gives them a footing that's more strong than what it was before. But the other play is for the data. They have, if you look at this suite of things, this tech suite, I love all these words that they're going to introduce. It's going to be very robust, and it is deeper and wider than anything we've ever talked about. I mean, they have a credit card. I mean, Mandy and I were talking about it this morning. It is way, and Graham, I will say, it does make me wonder, like, you guys pay close attention, because it does make me wonder, because we just got purchased. I think everybody's on the table. I think everybody's up. And that's what this guy said. He goes, Keller Williams is next. I mean, EXP doesn't think they're buyable. They think they're elitists, and they're very much, we don't need anyone. But watch what happens next. But the smaller independents, it's very curious how you're going to compete with, and I'm not saying this, I'm feeling the same thing, but how will you compete with what these guys are getting ready to introduce to this, and what Compass is introducing to 300,000 agents now? The tools they're going to have. I mean, the tool that it's not even things that you and Graham and Matt and I would think about, much less because they don't think real estate. So that's interesting, an interesting thought. So let's look at it from REMAX's perspective for a minute. I got a comment here. Let's see. Yeah, good one. That's good. We talked about that. Why in the world did REMAX? Because don't forget, we've done 9 mergers and acquisitions as our company. So we haven't done one of this scale, of course. We've done 9 of these. Mandy and Randy have navigated us through 9 of these. Why would REMAX take the initial phone call? What did that say?
Good first.
Yeah, well, we have to do evaluation. We have to do evaluation first, and then we'll talk about the 10 mil. But you might want to call Tamir. Apparently, he's got money that we don't have, so he might throw just 10 mil on top and add you guys in, just loop you right into the deal. But why would REMAX take the initial call, Ashley and Lawton? Let's think about this, because that's when we think about it. Sometimes the seller. Do you think the seller called? You think REMAX called Real, or Real called REMAX, or they met at a conference? How do you think it went down? Let's speculate for a minute.
Am I allowed to say I don't know on the podcast?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to hear what you guys say.
Yeah. What do you think, Lawton?
I mean, I don't know if this could be as simple as this, but if you look at the owner and who has built all this of REMAX, maybe like if a seller of a really big house gets to the point that they don't want to take care of it, they sell it. So I don't know if it could be as simple as that. And I could see that obviously he might not have all the say, but if Mr. Linegar was like, you know what, I don't want to own this anymore. We've done, like, look at what we've done. I'm done. Me and my wife are done. Maybe they want to sell it. Maybe they made the call. Hey, I think you're in the position where if you bought us, it could be really good for you. I don't know. Again, I don't know, but that's a good guess, I feel like.
No, I love that. And I think that's a part of what I would think happened. I don't know. I look at it like Eric Carlson's been here about 2 years. I don't know that this wasn't the reason he was hired. Dave and Gail, 78 years old, 80 years old, their life story is remarkable. I mean, Gail survived a plane crash. Dave survived a spinal infection that nobody survives, was in ICU for 6 months. They have had and that's just the tip of the iceberg, what these people have been through to be the original disruptors in real estate. I think that at some point you got to go, and although he is the penultimate entrepreneur and he doesn't ever stop, even at 80 years old, he's still got, I don't know how many businesses, but this is a big one. And I think there's something to that. I think there's something to that. They were, imagine how happy they are. And of course, financially, but what's he going to do with more money? Let's not talk about the money, because he's got, you don't know how much money this guy has. Like, he's got a lot of money already. Did he need the money? But think about the peace of mind for him. And we could do the whole podcast on, if you're listening to this today, you should be figuring out how to exit your business. And I don't think you are, like you should be. It shouldn't just go away at the end of your real estate career, in my opinion. It shouldn't just, I'm done, and whoever calls me, I'm just going to refer to whoever I like. There should be a plan. And Dave and Gail had a plan. The board of directors, I think, had a plan. I don't know who called who, but they were open to having a conversation. Am I missing something? I think I might have missed. There you go. Carrie's got a good comment. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to miss. Carrie's adding some good stuff here. Consolidation is a big deal, right? And it's happening. Yeah. So real. That's interesting. They're not in every market. Like, I don't think they are in Myrtle Beach. They are in Greenville and other places. But so you have a seller that is looking for, and let's talk about the elephant in the room. REMAX is super valid in the market, no doubt. Best, most productive agents is the number one thing, and always touted as most trusted. Those two things you can't live without. And that's why Real was very interested in this. I mean, look at the production they just got under their umbrella together with. It's incredible. But let's be honest, and if I can say it out loud, we could have been the Blockbuster of the real estate industry. We could have been. And I think we were not being that when we hired Eric and Chris and Travis and Daniel. We started realizing we better change this, or we could end up like Blockbuster. When I'm talking about Blockbuster, you know that story. Netflix called them in the beginning and said, hey, you want to partner up? And Blockbuster went, no thanks, we got it. And now we know the rest of the story. Mm-hmm. So there could have been some of that. If I don't understand the debt, I don't understand agent count worldwide. I don't understand, because companies tell their story the way they want to tell it. But to me, the optics are, we might need something. REMAX might have been saying, we might need something for the founder, like an exit, but we also might need a real tech partner. We might need that to become relevant, more relevant, stay relevant, show our agents and our owners and our investors that we're paying attention, that we're not asleep at the wheel, that we don't have Blockbuster pride. And believe me, I've got pride. I've always said I would be the one on the Titanic playing the instrument so everybody would be happy when they die. But they had pride, but they also had enough sense to say, why don't we consider this? I feel like these conversations, do you think this was a week-long conversation? I think it was probably, if it wasn't years, it was at least months that they worked through all this. And I think they still got some stuff to work in, as a reminder, to get it closed. But I think those two things are, I'm proud today. I'm proud that REMAX would have admitted they needed something, and I think there's a lesson for all of us in this. Maybe. I mean, how often do you feel like you need something, but you're afraid to speak up about it on a small scale? Can you imagine like them saying, you know what, and proud of Dave. I mean, my goodness, he could have just rode off into the sunset and let the thing trickle away. And who would have known any different? He's a billionaire. But good for him and for Gail for saying, you know what? And he said it in the video that he sent to us, which was remarkable. Now I feel comfortable that it'll be fine for the next 50 years. Do you feel that? I mean, I feel that because I know the guy and I'm invested in this brand, but pay attention to what he just feels like he has secured his legacy for the next 50 years. Now, when I look at Carrie's name and I look at Sue and I'm talking to Ashley and Lawton, and I know all these people around the world that have invested in REMAX so much, like my wife and I, Rennie, Tracy, all of us, that one truth right there gives me confidence moving forward. If Dave had enough confidence, and that somebody out there is going to say, well, he got a big paycheck. Of course he had confidence. You don't know Dave. You don't know Dave. Like, his legacy is as important as the billions that he has, if you know the guy. So I'm confident that I'm confident in the fact that that's part of this deal. REMAX saw a need, and now they've tried to meet it. Does that make sense, Ashley and Lawton? I'm just talking ethereal language that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. And the Blockbuster analogy, like, did you hear that somewhere? Did you come up with it? That sums it up for me. That's great. Love it.
No, I just thought of that, and I don't know that it's parallel exactly, because I think Blockbuster was really hurting. Not when they were originally offered the deal, though, like in the very beginning. I think maybe it is parallel, but no, I thought of that myself. Thank you for complimenting. Lawton, what about you?
I don't know what Blockbuster is. I was kidding.
Point.
Ashley
Great.
secured a spot on the live stream for the next 2 years with that comment, but I do think it's good. So I think you could make a video about that one and post it. But no, I hear what you're saying. I like it.
Yeah. So now here's what I wanted to talk about for a minute. And by the way, I'm going to share this before I forget. If you want to see a good podcast, not that this one's not, but I saw I think I shared it with Ashley Lawton. Look up on YouTube, go put in BAM, BAM. Maybe I can put it in the comments, but I'm not good at that. They did a podcast with Tamir. And don't put the Lion King's. What's the Lion King's person's name that's similar to Tamir?
Timon.
Timon. Don't put Timon. Put Tamir. Tamir. They did a really good. They had a 20-minute interview with him yesterday, or the 27th, which might have been 2 days ago. The day it was happening, it was really good to hear him talk about it. So go find that on YouTube. Find their podcast. I don't even know the guy's name that ran the podcast, but I listened to that 20 minutes. I thought it was very good. If you can find the video that Dave Liniger did, his 3 minutes about how he feels about this and what it is. And of course, let's talk about this. This is two publicly traded companies. Okay. This is the worst way to do an acquisition or a merger, is to let people know that it's coming, because we've done 9 of these. And if you tell someone, hey, in 3 months, REMAX Southern Shores is going to acquire the Somerville office, if you tell the agents and people that are employed there that 3 months ahead of time, that's the last thing you want to do. But these are publicly traded. And the reason is because of uncertainty that we're feeling right now, right? If I tell Somerville, hey, this is what's coming, they're all going to leave and go, I don't want any part of it. Like, I'm not interested in any more change. So what we're feeling is publicly traded companies can't do that. They can't keep this secret till closing day, because they have the FTC, they have stock investors. They had to do an earnings call the other day with investors. Like, there's a lot of steps they have to take in order to make this thing actually happen, but they have to tell us up front. That's weird, isn't it? Because now here we got all of us like, what do you mean? Here, Mandy and I, this is not a hobby. This is not our hobby. We don't make money some other way, just like you guys as real estate agents. This is what we do, and it feels like what's coming down the pike. I'm confident because of the things we talked about, but just keep that in mind. It's publicly traded. That's why we know parts of it, but we don't know everything. That's why when we ask questions, they go, well, we're not allowed to talk about that right now because we've asked every question you can imagine. You believe me, we have asked it all already. You should trust that. But I thought what I wanted to talk about next is win, win, win. So whenever we talk about a merger or an acquisition, someone calls us or we call someone and say, hey, let's put our forces together like we did in North Myrtle Beach, like we did in Somerville, Charleston, Wilmington, like I've known Alicia forever and Eric and Butch. The first thing we talk about is win, win, win. It has to be a win for the buyer, win for the seller, and a win for the customer, which in this case is agents. And we're not even going to talk about the public, which is what we're all here for, by the way, to service the public. We won't talk about that today because we're trusting that the trickle down will be very impactful to the public. But how we talked about how it might be a win for REMAX, right, with this tech suite and bringing us up to speed. And we talked about a little bit how it might be a win for Real because now they have data from 180,000. They have reputation. That was the word I was looking for. That's such a hard word. They have credibility. That was another one I was looking for. Instant. Why is my camera doing that? There's Brandon Lake. See Brandon Lake up there on there? I'm going to that concert this week. Can't wait. I don't know why my camera's doing that. Probably because I'm doing my hands over here. The third thing is, let's talk about for a minute what benefit would it be to the agents in both organizations? Let's speculate about that. Would there be a win? Is there going to be a win for a Real agent? Is there going to be a win for a REMAX agent? What do y'all think?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is the win for the REMAX agents who will be able to hopefully have some new, updated, proven tech. Not that they weren't already moving in that direction, like you said earlier, Tad, but that's a huge win, in my opinion, with how fast things are evolving. And we've spent this entire season talking about AI and its impact on our industry. And Real Brokerage has AI components that are in there, they're working. And that's very exciting for REMAX agents when you're already so recognizable as an agent with the REMAX brand next to your name. You're already trusted, like you mentioned before. And now you have a bigger megaphone to let people know that you're the best person to help them buy and sell real estate and that they can count on you. Like that's, and that even trickles directly to what you just said to the public, to have those trusted agents guiding them. Sometimes you just need to get the word out there. I'm the best person to help you. And it sounds like the technology is going to help make all of that more attainable for REMAX agents.
Yeah. You made me think of two things, and Lawton, I'll get your talk next. The first thing is, I should say that the way it's been described to us, you will have, as a REMAX agent, you will have the option, or as a REMAX broker owner, we will have the option to keep things just like they are. You won't have to make any changes. That's what they're telling us. We can continue being just what we are with the same support. I'm assuming R4, same conferences, same platform. Or if you feel like you'll be more effective, more efficient with this tool, they're going to give that as an option to us. And when I say this tool, it should be in all capital letters because it is robust. It is like nothing I've ever seen, but that will be a choice. Now, I know there are agents out there that might be like me because I thought it was interesting. We got 3 different generations leading this call today in 3 different opinions. But for people my age and a little bit older, you might not want a new tech stack. You might be, I don't even want to hear those 2 words together. Only stack is I want pancakes. That's it. I do not want hot stacks. I do not. You're welcome for the publicity. You can sponsor if you want. Just give me a call on my cell phone. You might not want that, and it's okay. You don't have to take it. So it's going to be like a menu. So I wanted to make that point. And the other thing is, I had a friend tell me the other day, which I thought was cool. Disney owns ESPN, but you never see sports most of the time on Disney shows. You don't see Disney characters on ESPN most of the time, right? And I think Toyota owns Lexus. I think in the same. Yeah, if you look up who owns McDonald's, it's not Mr. McDonald. It's not Mr. Nike, Phil Knight owns a lot of Nike, but most of it is owned by the public, by stockholders. Same as REMAX. Sunday it was owned by one thing, and when it closes, it's going to be owned just by other people. It's not like a big deal, right? So it wasn't like Dave owned it, and now Dave gave up all the control. The control was already given up anyway before. But I like your perspective that it might be a plug-and-play situation where it would be very exciting for agents. It might be. Lon, what do you think? What are you most excited about? What do you see the upside for the agents? Anything different?
I feel like for REMAX agents, I think it's spot on that if there's a company that's been super focused on tech, that there's going to be tech that we don't have. And now I feel like we have that. From the other side of a real agent, my head goes to, maybe the global exposure is helpful. But I feel like somewhere down the road, and this is speculation, I feel like at some point, some sort of combined marketing has to be happening for it to be a huge benefit for real. Like if you could market real REMAX like it is, as opposed to you're still just a real agent. I feel like there's got to be something like that, or people are just going to want to leave real if REMAX has everything that real has. So I feel like there's got to be something, because that would be huge for them if they can put that with that name. Well, then all of a sudden, anybody who sees it, like I think Carrie said, 99% people who see it are going to know what that means. So, and I don't know how that works down the road, but that would be the biggest benefit. And I've actually seen what Tracy just said. I've seen already a ton of people that are not a huge fan of our CRM and are like, let's go. This is going to be a new CRM. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
And let's be candid about it. Like, man, a couple of my friends said to me after this happened, REMAX agents could have chosen Real to begin with. What are we also worried about? Because that's the elephant in the room is a bunch of agents go, I think that option's better. Let's go over there. Or Real agents. Why is Tamir not worried that all 33,000 of his agents will immediately go to REMAX? He doesn't want that, right? I don't think they want one, because keep in mind, real estate companies nor brands are right for not one is right for everybody. So a person that would choose basically a cloud-based brokerage with no brick and mortar, or not much brick and mortar, no offices, no in-house broker in charge. Everything is virtual. Everything. That's one certain person. And then the person that chooses what we do in general is more as a different kind of agent. So I think what they're touting it as is there'll be opportunity for that virtual person to plug in, and there'll be opportunity for that hands-on person to plug in. And maybe the idea is and I don't think this is true, but as the average age of a realtor gets lower with people like Lawton adding to the flock, does it get more virtual? I don't know. I think his generation longs for connection just as much as they do they want to be connected, but they also want to be very efficient and effective. And we can have both down the road. That's what I'm excited about. So good points. I think if I were a real agent, I would be going, I'd be excited because now we're on the map. If I was a real agent and I was going to a listing appointment today, you think I wouldn't say, hey, we just bought REMAX? You know what I mean? Is that credibility right away? Actually, what do you think? And your face said something.
No, I just was laughing at your comment about being at the listing appointment.
Yeah, and I don't know, Tracy, what if the tool. I did hear somebody say that it doesn't specifically have a CRM component. I don't know who said that though, and I don't know if that's legit. I think what it is more is a back office end-to-end solution for an agent and a client to be fully involved in the process of buying and selling and closing, and even lifetime benefits of real estate involvement. It's not necessarily how you contact clients, although I think there's a component. I don't think that's the main selling point. As I read the stuff, and you could do that, you go on Real, their website, you can read about it. You can read about their and they've been. It's funny because at REMAX we tried to build Bouge. We had a huge team of people trying to build this all end-to-end solution, and it failed. And then we are trying to integrate Bold Trail, which I think has been effective, but it's taking a lot of time and energy. They, for 10 years, have just been doing that. So I think the people at the powers that be said they've done a really good job about that. And maybe they're wrong. I mean, somebody said to me a few days ago, I think it might have been Alicia, which I thought was a great point. You go to bed thinking one thing and you wake up thinking something else. Like, this certainly has shaken things up for us at REMAX and at Real. Some good, some bad, some we don't know. She said, isn't it interesting how you can go to bed with one thought and then wake up and you have a whole nother thought? And I told her, I said that what we should learn from this is that's how life is. You don't know. I mean, my thing in my eye could have been something a lot different. Or any of us could have an accident, or any of us could win the lottery. You don't know what happens in a person's day. Here's the key, in my opinion, and I think we touched on it earlier. I think Ashley talked about, consider Jennifer's point last week. There's an event. Your response to the event equals the outcome. Not the event. I mean, I don't know how many things I'd have to go through in history to tell you that the event doesn't determine the outcome. People's response to an event determines the outcome. I mean, even the Corrie ten Boom. I mean, even Holocaust survivors, even 9/11, even COVID, even all of it. I mean, other than dying, if you have an ability to respond to an event, then that determines the outcome. And so my challenge to all of us here is, what is your response going to be? And I shared yesterday, apparently this just opens up the floodgates of recruiting calls and emails. I've never heard of other broker owners being called ambulance chasers, but I heard someone say that yesterday. They hear this news, and so Keller Williams sends out this mass text to everyone. Like, hey, you want to get together? And I talked about this yesterday. Just pay attention to how you feel, what their objective is, and then if you feel like you need to take that meeting, take it. But my encouragement would be, if you're a REMAX agent, you might want to hang tight. I'm hoping you're hanging tight. I'm hoping you're trusting us, and because some really, really incredible things might be around the corner. I think they are with this merger. My friend Tyler, I don't know if Tyler's on here or not. He was in his car earlier, letting it drive him to his speaking engagement as he opened emails because he has a Tesla. So hopefully Tyler's still alive.
We're doing a webinar with Tyler later today. So hopefully he's still alive.
Tyler's fantastic. But Tyler took the initiative to send out a recruiting email of his own to people that said, hey, I just had a phone call about this whole REMAX thing, and it's more than just a real REMAX thing. It's really about the future of the industry. Can we chat? Isn't that powerful? And that's what Graham and Matt and I need to do. Like, where does this end up? What is this an indicator of?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Carrie, actually, he and I had a call this morning. We do it weekly so that we can keep our markets in sync and how we're sharing information with agents. But he brought that up, and I thought that it was really insightful. So exactly what we had to say. What does it mean for the industry? What direction is the industry moving in? And I just wanted to also piggyback off of what you were saying, Tad, about, here's the event and how you react to it is the outcome. I don't know if either of you have ever experienced this, but there's been a handful of times in my life where overnight everything all of a sudden looked different. The rug pulled out from underneath of me for one reason or another, with life events. And always, every single time, what was on the other side of getting over whatever had just changed ended up so much better than I ever could have imagined. And we sometimes get stuck at like status quo. So even a company like REMAX, we're just cruising along on our cruise ship. Not that they weren't aware to make changes, and they always have been focused on changes in the industry and making smart decisions and leading and having a path for agents to still continue to thrive in the industry that they've chosen. But when you have a change, it sometimes forces you out of that comfort zone. And if you react to it in the right way, that's why I'm here, right, Tad? I was sitting in your kitchen New Year's Eve day, after unexpected changes on New Year's Eve. And so it's just how you react to it. And that change can sometimes just bring about things you never could have imagined that could be possible.
Yeah, that's excellent point. And thank you for making it so personal, because it is, we've all been there, but I know you've got a story, and I appreciate your story, and what a mature perspective. This isn't a tragedy, but it feels like it. There's always more. There's always better. There's always deeper and wider. It made me think of a song. There was a one other topic that just popped in my head when you were talking that we won't have time to talk about today, but it's interesting that these consolidations fly in the face of what people used to say to me, that you need to be small. You need to be small and nimble in order to make changes, in order to adapt, in order to pivot. You've heard that word until it makes me want to throw up, right? Well, there's been two huge moves, if this one happens, in our industry that kind of say a different thing. And that's an interesting thought to think about. Somebody's putting a lot of money on the line, and a lot of, but two huge organizations just said, you know what, we're going with consolidation as being where it's going to be in the future. And we haven't even talked about MLS, which is a whole nother thing that goes in. Let's see what we got here, my friend Jack. It'd be good in the long run, whatever happens. It's all about helping people. We just had 300 past, future, and present clients that are Low Country Boyle. That's awesome. It's about them, not big corporations. They will do what they do. People, you mean? I'm assuming you're talking about clients. Yeah. Yeah. And the idea, you're exactly right. And that's what I've told Mandy, I think, is the advantage of Real now, seeing how REMAX does things. Like, do you think they have a director of happiness? Probably not, but when they see it, they probably will. And they understand connection. I always say connection trumps innovation. You can't, innovation without connection equals zero. Connection without innovation, you can still make a living. And that's what Graham's point is. I mean, you can have all the pig pickings you want, make a great living for yourself. I think what Real and Compass have just said is we want to scale this thing quicker. We don't want to do 300 agent. That's fine for us, but for them, they wanted to accelerate things. And got what they would have taken 3 decades. They got it overnight, they think. So we'll see. Great comments today. Corporations will do what they do. That's exactly right. And that's what this conversation has been about. Any closing comments, Lawton or Ashley? I thought that was very profound, Ashley, what you said.
I just wanted to also point out here, kudos to you and Mandy and Rennie for giving information to the agents quickly as they were receiving emails. I would imagine there might be companies who haven't heard from their leadership still, because the leadership feels like we don't know that we understand everything that's happening. But I mean, within an hour of that, we had a video with your faces talking to everybody saying, here's how much we know so far. We're going to be there finding out more information. We're going to be there with all of you, hand in hand, every step of the way. So kudos to you guys for just doing that right away and always leading in that way to help everybody understand and move forward.
You're welcome. We are perfectly imperfect. We don't know everything, but we knew immediately when I saw it, we said, we've got to get a video out so people can see that we're confused too. We don't know, but we're in it with you. And that's all we can say. So I appreciate you recognizing that. Lawton, anything else?
Nope. I'll leave it at that.
And the most important thing of the day, Living South Realty. We're proud of you guys. Thanks for being on the show. Rise Up Nation, thanks for joining us today for a candid conversation about the Real REMAX Group. We will continue to follow this and give you updates as they warrant, and we'll probably do another show. We'll be back here next week talking about something. Let's see what happens. Jared James was so surprised that nothing monumental happened in real estate yesterday. So let's see what today holds, and we might talk about it next Wednesday. You guys have a great day. Thanks for all that you do.
Thank you.